We are here with Diane Hendricks. She's a woman of many titles. She's an active owner of ABC Supply, and she is one of America's richest self-made women and on this year's 50 over 50. Diane, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start, you have such a fascinating story, including you grew up on a dairy farm, and you've previously told Forbes that growing up on this farm, you were not allowed to milk a cow or drive a tractor. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why is that?
Well, I'm one of 9 girls, and my father, I just think, felt that it was safer. He was always worried about us kids, girls being in the farm. I think he always wanted boys, probably would have stopped at 2, but went on to have 9 girls. He just had us do little tasks. Large tasks were for the men and the young men that he would hire to do the hard work on the farm.
But you learned hard work growing up on this farm.
I learned to work, but I didn't work around machinery.
Okay.
It's just the way he was. He was a man's man, and he didn't say that women belonged in the house, but he also didn't encourage getting into business like men.
What do you think he would say of your business right now? My
father actually was very proud of me. He passed about 20 years ago, but he knew of our successes, Ken's and mine, with ABC and other businesses, and he quietly was very proud, very proud.
Now, you've also said that you had to grow up very quickly. What does that mean to you, and why do you say that?
I got pregnant when I was just about 17 years old, and my parents encouraged me, basically told me, you need to marry the father of your son, my baby at the time. And I did, even though it was not it was puppy love and not love. He was a good man, and it only lasted for 3 years. And that's when I really started to look at a career, and a career I had always dreamt of having, which was being in business, since I wasn't allowed to be on the farm, but to be engaged in something that I wanted to. And I always pictured myself in a blue suit and having a nice car and being independent.
So what was your first job?
Oh my goodness, I had a few little jobs. I worked at Parker Penn a little bit for like 3 months. And then the real job that I really decided this is going to be my future is I started to get involved in real estate, and before I was 21 years old. And you could actually sit in a model home. You could sell real estate off from a set of prints. It wasn't really real estate because it wasn't really dirt. It was a spec on a piece of paper, so you're selling paper. So I got involved in that, and then eventually I got my real estate license. And I met Ken, and he bought a couple houses, 2 houses for $7,000. And I did the work and cleaned them and rented them, and that started a relationship of buying real estate in Beloit, Wisconsin. And that's how it all started. I was divorced and lived in a little apartment, and sold real estate. I was a Playboy bunny, and I don't hide the fact, it's a glorified waitress, and it helped me to be able to pursue my career, which was real estate. And I was over there for about a year, and you know, making enough money to raise a son.
You got to do what you got to do.
You do what you got to do. And I didn't ask my parents. My parents gave me $200 and I paid them back in 90 days. I'm independent, and I'm proud of what I work for and I earn, and I still have those same values. I pass it on to my children. They've all worked. My grandchildren, they know I'm not happy unless they got a job. I think there's no better feeling than earning. Working and earning it is a feeling of satisfaction, and I've pursued that my whole life.
Well, you and Ken were business partners and life partners, but let's talk about building a business together. When did ABC Supply begin, and how?
Ken and I were together for like 15 years. He was a roofing contractor, and I really was I was the real estate person. And we owned a lot of homes in Beloit. And that is the city that really gave us our start. Ken had lived in Janesville and had a piece of real estate, and he called himself an entrepreneur, which was a word that now is used in everyday language for years. And they asked Ken if he knew what an entrepreneur was. And it was kind of a funny conversation because he said, it's a risk taker and we don't do business with risk takers. And so that kind of halted his banking in Janesville. And we started to bank, and it was Beloit Savings Bank at the time. And they gave us a start. And it truly is the city that made all the difference to Ken and I. They were a giving community. And I still call it home. And I've done a lot to help the community. And that's really important to me, to give back, because they gave us that chance.
Mm-hmm. You never forget the people who gave you that chance.
Really don't. You really don't.
I want to talk to you about building this business. So you built ABC Supply with Ken until 2007.
Right. Ken was a roofer when I met him. He had a roofing contracting firm that was local in Madison and in the Janesville area. And probably 5 years after I knew Ken, we started doing government work for the military. Many nights with big prints laying all over, trying to determine what we were going to bid to get one of those jobs. And they were large contracts. And I always say we either made money on it or we lost. And it was an open bid process. And if you were a low bidder and you were really low, you worried a lot. And so we did that for quite a long time. We realized the need in our industry, the roofing industry, but the manufacturers, each of them, they were the manufacturers of it, but they were also the distributor. If you wanted that kind of shingles, you bought it from the manufacturer. There was no distribution chain across the nation, so there was little pockets of where the products were manufactured, and you generally bought from the manufacturer that was in your area. And as we were roofing contractors in the military, they would spec products that you couldn't get in the areas where they were building, where they were asking you to provide product. And you just start looking at the need, and over the course of 5-10 years, we realized that there needed to be a distribution chain to be able to offer to the customer, us the contractor, the selection of various manufacturing products across the nation. And so we pursued that and finally put together a plan. I remember it took us like 2 years to put together the plan on how do we start, where do we begin to be a distributor of roofing products. And so we practiced on a wholesale store that sold products for real estate people, just to see what it was like. And from there, we decided we were ready a couple of years later, and we opened up store one for ABC Supply with products that we brought in, shingles from different manufacturers. We were in business for about 3 years, just buying up lumber yards, a couple here, a couple there. And when we heard that GAF was going to sell off their roofing division, and I know Ken and I were on vacation, and we flew home and went up and met with GAF, and 2 young people that had never been to New York and negotiated to buy 13 of their stores. And we accomplished that.
It feels like you and Ken really identified an opening in the market. How did you do that? What were you seeing?
Because there was no distribution for contractors, and we had been a contractor for years, and it was just, we need to have a distribution chain, be able to carry all the products, and we wanted to bring professionalism to the industry that we had come out of as a contractor. And we felt we weren't being treated with respect. We were roofers, and that was part of our goal, was to build a company that would take the guy in the pickup truck and provide service and respect to all of them. And we built our motto on growing ABC, and we finally laid it out. And that's when we started to buy, 2. We bought 2 the first. We built one, and then we bought two, and then we started to grow. But it was always to carry those products that would make it easy across the nation, but would also, we would be giving that contractor the respect that he needed, and we would give him, we were their bank. We would set up terms, which they'd never had before, so they could grow. So we did everything that we could to make the contractor have what we hadn't been provided for as contractors.
So that was then, and then I know your business has grown quite a bit in the last 2 to 3 years. What's been the catalyst for that growth, do you think?
We've done acquisitions. We continue to grow we do greenfields also, but we grow by acquisition. We've been the largest in the nation, and the company is 40 years old now. 41 years old is ABC. So it's always about, is there a need? Where do you put a store? You know, it's always about the need and how you fill a need. And you know, we had 17,000 people working for ABC now. And we give them opportunity to go up the ladder also. It's not just come here and this is what you're going to do. We've got management, sales. I mean, we built a great company with a lot of great people. You know, the other companies, we have those same goals and opportunities. We've got 3,500 employees that work for manufacturing, the construction, all of the other 16 companies that we own, and good management. And it really boils down to having the right people in the right positions so that they can lead. It's such an important part of running a company or multiple companies, is hiring the right people. And some people miss that.
You've been smart with your acquisitions. I want to jump ahead.
Go ahead.
I think that was a savvy strategy you employed during the 2008 financial crisis. Obviously, not a good time for housing, the housing market, the market that depends on the goods that you sell. Can you talk about what you did then? Because you have referred to it as the biggest risk you've ever taken.
Well, I lost my husband in 7. But you could feel that recession coming on. It was very scary, very, very scary. So it really became evident that we were in a recession in late of 2008, 2009. And we had about 250 locations at that time. But the recession was, we just buckled down, really buckled down. And you know, did what you do in a recession, you know. You cut back on this, cut back on that. But there was an acquisition that came available, and it was Bradco. And there was no way I could oversee that acquisition at that time. I had to take on a partner, an investment partner, and I had to give up 40-some% of my shares. And we've always owned everything. But this one was one that I knew the company, and it had to be done. And it really is painful to give up control and to bring in investment bankers. But we structured it that if I could give them the return, like they always want a return within 5 years, I would buy my shares back.
Did you buy your shares back?
Yes. We bought them back in 3.5 years. And I still get shivers right now because I felt I had risked the company that I wanted my children to run when we're not here. You know, it's not a company that's ever going to be for sale. It's a strong company. We changed the industry. The whole nation now has a distributor in between. You can buy any product any place in the nation. Manufacturers aren't running, you know, the regional distribution of materials. And it makes the choice and the contract, everything better. It really, really was an amazing thing that we did by starting out with 2 stores and 3 stores and distributing various manufactured products. It's what made ABC so powerful. But to make that acquisition at that time, during a recession, felt like I was risking it all. but I knew that it was a good company we were buying, and it's proven to be one of the best acquisitions we ever did. But you can't see into the future. You can't see that far into the future. So it was difficult, but great team. I have a great team. Had a great team then, and everybody believed that we could get it done. And you have to trust your experts within the companies that we have, and we did it. You take risks, but you take calculated risks. You know, I always say you don't take risks that you can't afford to lose yourself. You don't want to hurt somebody else in the risk taking that you take. And I've never let anybody down by that. My risk is going to hurt me, and I'll figure out how to. Don't take more risk than you can afford to pay back yourself. So if that was to fail, that's one of those scary situations. But we had built a strong enough company that I knew that we could, and we did.
How many stores do you have today, or how big
Almost
is it?
900.
And if you had to summarize what has made the company so successful, we've talked about acquisition and following your intuition. What do you think the secret to your success has been?
Hiring great people, surrounding myself with people of good integrity, knowing the need of the different businesses, you know, that I've invested in. It's about the people. You know, we did it because we knew there was a need in the industry, but we also knew that we had to build the best company with the best people we could find, and we did. And we still have, we're the best company in America, I think, because of the people that make it up.
People always make the difference.
They make all the difference in the world.
You and Ken seem to have a real, true partnership in every sense of the word. And I recognize that, but I'm also curious, because this business has so many elements to it, and you've also made investments in Beloit, what's your baby? What's Diane's best idea?
Well, ABC will always be what we call our lead, and it's by far the biggest company. And but we were in construction, still have the same company. We started buying. I mean, real estate is my passion. Mm-hmm. We have development across the nation now. Beloit, you know, it's for me in the last 15 years, it's like give back to Beloit what they gave Ken and I, which was opportunity to be able to, you know, bank for us. Our banks in Beloit gave us that chance. The people in Beloit, you know, they supported our growth. It's just a great community, and so I just have found it very rewarding to be able to help Beloit be the city they always wanted to be. It was made up of great people, mm-hmm. but it was always a foundry city that lost a lot of its companies in the last 30 years, and they were always struggling. And it's really my turn, my time, to be able to develop it into a city that's a little jewel. It's not philanthropy. A couple of things are, but basically it's putting revival mm-hmm. back in a tired town that got left behind when industries changed and manufacturing left, and it was difficult to watch the city I loved, which is only 35,000 people, you know, really start to suffer.
I know there's been manufacturing investments that you made in schools, but more recently there's the Lincoln School. Can you tell me about it?
Our public school system across the nation has major problems, and especially in Beloit, they've suffered in the school system. The numbers that children are graduating and their ability to get on with their life, it's very difficult, very difficult. So it got to the point that the only way that we could really help is to put competition in the city and to actually start a school, build a school, and embrace educating the children so that they don't just graduate, but they graduate with knowledge. And we're doing that. We're 1 year old. 1 year. And in math, we doubled what they had learned, 200% in 1 year. So the school in 3 years will be from K4 all the way to 12. And so we'll get to having a full school. It's built for all of the children. And we will, right now we're 530 children entering school. Huge waiting line to get in. Sad. I wish I could grow it faster. But you know, you've got to hire the teachers. You've got to, and the curriculum is, we're teaching the basics. And
you got to hire the right people.
Hire the right people. And make sure you teach them what they need to know. So the mission for our school is that you will graduate and you will already know a career, maybe nursing, because we do a lot of vocational training and teaching. The whole lower level is all about vocational, and it's a forgotten need in our nation. Mm-hmm. Educating kids how to be contractors, how to be in the electronic world. I mean, we're bringing it all in there. You can. It's fabulous what we're doing there with kids. You know, you've got to have a future, and we build futures for children. And we talk about it when they're 4 years old. We already talk about, what do you dream about? Mm-hmm. What do you think you want to be when you grow up?
What did you want to be when you grew up? I mean, we're talking here for the 50 over 50, and I love asking people, did you ever imagine your over 50 career when you were a teen or in your 20s?
I tell this story as I remember the day I stood at the window in the farmhouse and thought, I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to marry a farmer. I was 10, and I dreamed about wearing that blue suit and going to the city. I lived in Osseo, Wisconsin. The city I wanted to go to was Minneapolis, because it was the biggest city close by. And my 2 older sisters, one was working up there already. So, you know, I'm one of 9, so I was in the middle.
I was going to say, what number are you?
I'm number 4, or, yeah.
My dad is 4 of 9.
4 of 9, yeah. So it's, you know, there's a lot of us in the middle, but it's all good. But you do dream. If you don't dream, you don't have a goal. You don't know where you're going to go. You have to think about your future. And I think thinking about your future, the younger you are, the more you start looking at those careers. You just notice what's going on in life. You're exposed to it. I knew what I didn't want to do. And here I live now in the country. I have horses. I have all the things I said I wasn't going to do. Yeah, I don't milk cows, but I do love nature. Mm-hmm. I love nature. I love being outside. So you can, you know, the old saying, you can take the girl out of the country, you can't take the country out of the girl. And I'm living proof of that.
Is there a moment as you look at your career that you think you almost gave up? You wanted to just throw in?
No way.
No? Oh.
Never.
All right. Moving.
I've got, I think, 3 signs in my office that tell me never to quit. You quit, you're done. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't believe in quitting. Now I'm facing, life. Life on this earth is, I'm not done.
You're not done.
You know, that's the most frustrating part, I think, of getting old, is, golly, there's still so much to do.
What do you want to do?
More education, more for the school, more for the people that have helped me, you know, just to give back in many ways. I can't change the world, but there's so many things I can do. Medicine. I'm really involved in a company called North Star. I've been involved in it for 14 years. And it's just coming to its own. I'm in a cure for cancer. And I can actually see it. I can see it. It's all about isotopes and new medicine. It's good stuff. I want to be there.
Is being over 50 an advantage or disadvantage in your line of work?
I think it's helped. There's not an experience that I didn't learn something from. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good. You know, I enjoyed being under 50. You know, I was working when I was 21, and I was working when I was 20. I just think there's a lot you can learn in life, and I have learned a lot. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to college. I had to learn what I know, you know, whether it be hard knocks or by mistake, but you learn and you carry that knowledge with you.
Speaking of experience, you have seen your business through a number of different economic times. And we are talking in a moment where it was just reported that new home sales fell in July to a 6.5-year low. There's a lot of uncertainty out there in the market. I first want to ask you about the business. How are you feeling about, I know you have different lines of business, but given the broader economic environment, what's your outlook?
Definitely we're going into a recession. We're probably already there, like whoever keeps score on that. From what I'm hearing, it's not going to be as hard as the recession of 8, 9, 10. That was long and that was hard. I'm hoping that we don't have to go through that it won't be as hard. Are we preparing for it? Absolutely.
I was going to ask, what's your advice for female entrepreneurs or just younger women in general who are seeing this economic uncertainty and feeling that uncertainty in their own career?
It's hard for me to separate myself by gender. My saying is when I go to work, I just park my gender at the door. Almost all the businesses I'm involved in are more male industries. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're manufacturing and extruding, and they're all, I don't have any industry. North Star has a lot of females. I mean, that's a high-tech industry, and there's no gender specific there. And the reason I qualify that is I can do any job I want, but don't expect me, I'm not strong. I'm different, mm-hmm. You know, so I separate it by, you know, physical type. So, I mean, there's limitations. So we employ a lot of men in the industries that we have. So your question was, how do I see it for women? It's hard for me to look through that lens. It's going to hurt everybody. Everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, recession is never good. But honestly, I can't separate the genders on how this recession is going to hit.
That's fair.
I just can't. I can't do that. Can't do that.
Well, I will ask you another gender question.
Okay.
We have called you the richest self-made, one of the richest self-made women in America. What does that mean to you? What does it feel like to be among that rarefied group?
Well, I never quit. I work hard. I get asked all the time, why do you still go to work? You're ancient. My kids. and you know, like, Mom, you know, why are you still going to work? You're 75 years old. It's like I'm healthy. I love what I do. I'm still growing companies. Why would I quit? Why would I not be there? I like it. I like business. I know there's more I can do. I just, you know, like everybody, the clock is ticking. I got to hurry up and get it done. So I'm working at it. I think doing things for mankind, like the North Star business, it's important to me, really important to me. I ran in and put on my pin on my suit because I love this country. And opportunity is here. And I'm just so blessed to have been born in America. And I never had a door that didn't open for me. I never thought about being a female and not being able to do what I do. I don't give advice usually. People have to figure things out themselves. But I tell my children, just, you know, if you want to do that, just do it. You know, don't think why women aren't in that. You know, the only thing that'll hold you back is if you're not physically strong enough to do certain tasks. And that stops me from, I never wanted to be a shingler. I didn't want to apply the roofing. It's way too much work for me. So I think, you know, so much of our choices as females is, I go in there and you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. You know, you want to run North Star, our nuclear pharmacy company, this is just the intelligence and the ability and your drive as an individual to pursue your dreams. I learned industries that I never thought I would be involved in. I love construction. But I'm not a contractor. But do I want that company to survive? Do we have women that are actually, I've got women that enjoy being in the construction arena. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. You know, they can supervise a big job. They're doing great. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for women.
This has been so insightful. Diane, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.